The major scale has many cultural associations. The most common association is happy. Major is the happy scale. Minor is the so-called sad scale. It's the first three notes, very important. It's the first three notes to make it happy or sad. This is happy. This is sad. The difficulty with the minor scale is that it has three different forms, which we'll get into presently. But you've got to remember this one thing about the minor scale, and you've got it licked. It always begins whole, half. The major scale always goes whole, whole. The minor scale always goes whole, half. You get that much down, and you've always able to tell a minor scale from a major scale. The type of minor scale, that's a different problem because at the end of the scale, but the beginning is always the same. Now the concept of the relative minor is very important to music theory for many reasons, but it offers a very simple way to start finding minor scales. The relative minor is the scale that has the same notes as its relative major. For instance, C is all white notes. A minor is all white notes too. That's what makes them relative. They all have the same notes. Now it is the sharing of these same notes or common tones that makes major and minor keys relative to each other. Thus, say if you're in G major, which has one sharp, F sharp, E minor starting on E also has one sharp. So, as I said, if you know the major scale of a key and can figure out the relative minor, which is always a minor third lower, 3 half steps lower, then using the same notes, you can construct a pure minor scale. The pure minor scale is the first version, the oldest version, and the one from which you construct the other two versions. So, for instance, the key of C down a third is A minor. So that these notes, all white notes, played starting on A, gives you an A minor pure variety scale. Now make sure you understand how to find the natural minor scale. It's just a minor third below the major. Once you can do that, then you have the basic notes for which you can make the adjustments for the other two. Once you've found the natural minor, it's easy to find the other two types of minor scales. The harmonic minor has a raised seventh. We'll tell you a little bit later why it's called the harmonic minor and why that change is there. But for now, all you got to understand is this weird augmented interval is the thing that makes it harmonic minor, sometimes called Egyptian minor. Now it's that exotic sounding raised seventh of the harmonic minor that gave rise to the melodic minor. It so happens that for the sake of the harmony, this is a very good note. But for the sake of the melodies, it's difficult to sing, it sounds foreign. So what they did is they evened it out by raising the sixth and seventh, and then lowering to natural going down. As I mentioned before, there are many types of scales. Clearly the major and the three forms of the minor are the most important ones, the most often used ones, but there are many others. The important thing is that in classical music or jazz or any rock, any sort of style, knowledge of the scales is very important because the scale is like a neighborhood. And a scale sort of limits your possibilities. And if you've practiced your scale so that you know what those possibilities are based on each keynote, then your fingers, your mouth, your voice begin to understand certain things that are likely and certain things that are not so likely. So practicing scales is getting yourself familiar with the neighborhood that you're going to spend some time in when you play a piece. And If the neighborhood changes, then you've practiced your scales and you know the rules for that neighborhood too. Such a deal.